how do we keep present in times of illness and pain?
Okay, so it's the same no matter what the situation is. People try to make different situations different, but they're all the same, okay? The issue is, are you going to put your attention on thinking about what's going on and worrying about what's going on and regretting what's going on and being angry at what's going on and judging what's going on, or are you going to put it in action? That is the 0-1 game here. And all of us, every single one of us, has learned from our culture to put it in thought, because action is bad, it's impulsive, it's histrionic, it's whatever it is, no action without thought and contemplation and research and all of this other stuff. And the theory that I'm telling you in particular, because of the way that you be at this moment, is that if you choose deliberately to put it in an action, the action gives you very different kind of data than thinking. Not one's better than not or worse than not, they're just entirely different. So when you're thinking about something, you move in linear time. And so it's always about something. And so you get data. But when you're in an experience, it's information. So it's data integrated. So you see pattern. So it's just different. It's a different database with which to access data. And for you, when you go into thought, it dissipates a lot of your energy. So you don't have even the frame to create action around it. Does that make any sense what I just said?
I might have to watch this video again to really comprehend what you just said. I will have to watch the video again.
You'll get it.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't have to watch it again. You went right to the future. Just stay with the fact that it's a little confusing, and let's work on how to clarify, right? Right? Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay. Let's clarify, please.
So we have an option. We have X amount of data every day to deal, X amount of energy every day. And we are deliberate in where we have the capacity to be deliberate as to where we put that attention. And so the way that I sort of organize the way that nature works is that if you fully put your attention on actions in the present moment, then the next moment will evolve from that moment. Do you see what I'm saying? But if you put it in thought, then the thought becomes your reality. And Jason and I just did a video on don't let your stories become your reality. And it was really good. It's on my website or it's on YouTube, right? And you can get it. Jason has the thing. But this is not unique to you. Everybody goes to put the energy in the head, and the head really takes us out of the present moment to the future, worrying about what happens if we do this, or in the past, what happened, we should never have done that, and to other people and things. They all say you should do that. And then I'm not good enough to figure out what I can do, right? I don't like myself enough. I don't care about myself enough. I don't trust myself enough. I'm not confident in myself enough. So, so thought takes you by very definition out of the present moment, which is okay if you choose. It's perfectly okay if you choose. But I believe that nature wants us to sort of live in the experiences of our moment. And then that moment creates the next moment, unless you deliberately want to think about something, which is fine. I have an ex-brother-in-law that's a rabbi, and we were at a party one time, and he was over there at a stool somewhere. I walked over to him, I said, "What are you doing?" He said, I'm contemplating. I said, "Okay, that's a good thing to do." So contemplate away, go ahead. And we want to come back to the group, we're all here together for a short period of time. But if you want to go contemplate, then you go contemplate, and that's fine. Or you can come back and interact with us who are here for this short period of time. So, and he chose to contemplate, which was perfectly legitimate, fine thing to do. It's who he is. He's a rabbi, and so it's okay.
If it's true that nature, and I don't disagree with you, that nature wants us to be present and experiencing what we're in at the moment, then what has caused it to seem to be widespread that people aren't most of the time in this moment? Is it technology, or is it something else? What
started way back. I liken it to Descartes. I think, therefore I am. And that whole Renaissance period where people were spending a lot, and there was wonderful things that come from thought. I mean, great transitions in technology and medicine and all sorts of things. And so it just got a little bit out of control. And I don't even say a little bit because that's a modifier. It got out of control. So, but you see how I check myself all the time in what I'm saying?
Yes.
The words are the words are our genome. We have ants, and they all go out and they forage the forest or the garden or wherever they are, and one of them finds a piece of meat that somebody dropped in the hamburger or something in the backyard, and he sends out this chemical which says, everybody come help me because I found this meat and they're going to give us food and blah 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 blah. And so our genome is our chemical is language. And it's really a nonverbal language, of course, too, but verbal language. And it's really important to know what it is that you're saying. The first 3 sentences that you had, I said, what? I don't know what the words are that he's saying. The meaning to him, what those words are. I know what the meaning to me, what the words are, but I don't know what the meaning to you. So I always say to somebody, give me an operational definition of the word blah, blah, blah. Give me tell me your how you use that word.
Well, it's funny that you say all that. I mean, when you notice that when you're texting with someone or sending a message, there's a missing component to the language. And there's a lot of misconstrued understanding of what you intended without gestures and
Absolutely. And one of the things that goes on, I had this just an aside, it popped up when people wear masks, they can't see you smile, they can't see your facial expressions. The kids learn about emotions and how to deal with things. Adults do, from real facial expressions. It's ridiculous. Well, not so much anymore, but some people are wearing them, some people aren't. I have no idea what the protocol is on October 18th, so whatever, But the point is that we have a choice to be very deliberate about how we articulate who we are and what's important to us. And nature wants us, life is to be lived. That's what is sentient, that's what and they live their life. They don't think about it. We are the first ones who have the capacity really to think in that way. And it's the most beautiful tool ever when you do pure thought. I mean, Einstein came up with relativity. I mean, of all the people in the world, what I find very interesting is I like him the most. He and Freud have, they fight with me for their place in my heart. But I like him because he was able to understand that just because we all saw things as black and white didn't mean that black and white was the way it is. And he was set out to prove in this little post office somewhere in Germany that it's not that way. And then we got relativity, and then the whole world exploded, and then everything changed. And I'm not so sure that's a good thing, but it doesn't even matter. It's the truth of what happened, so it's what's so. And we deal with it, But he was the beginning person who actually saw that it's not black and white, It's only black and white.
True. It's so true. I mean, we're missing so many parts of the truth equation in what we perceive, because I mean, just from simple things like we don't see radio waves, so already, even though we know they exist, we don't perceive them without a tool. So how many other things are we not perceiving without the tools? But that's a little down the rabbit hole.
And I would love to talk to you about that. That's another whole topic, but I want to stay with the topic that you have a choice to take your energy and put it into the thoughts that you create and then believe, or you have a choice to put it in actions that are going to give you data that's going to let you know what's so. And it's okay if the data says it's not what you thought was so. That's fine, actually.
It goes so against your ego, though. It's so hard to fight against what you thought your whole existence. And you see it all the time, whether it's from a religious connotation or even a scientific connotation. You see people who have studied something their entire scientific careers that have been proven wrong. And then it becomes very difficult for them to let go of that.
Well, let's not talk about other people right now. Let's talk about.
Okay.
Oh, yes, this is your session. And I would like to.
Okay.
I would really like for you to get this today. I would really like to get that the actions that you take are never right or wrong. They're the best information that you have at that moment in time, and you do them. And then you either you learn, yes, that was good, so I'm going to keep doing that, or no, or it was helpful, or I learned something, or I was successful, or it wasn't. So what do I have to tweak, and what do I have to move, and what do I have to do in the next action as a result of the learning from this action? And it comes automatically, because that's how it is. But if you don't act, if you just sit and believe the stories and get all ambivalent with, one of my clients, he used to say to me that he made a mountain out of a molehill. So when the thing happened, this guy wanted to get a computer. So he wanted to get, so he started researching 15-inch computer or 13-inch computer, and spent 1 month deciding which should he get, the 13-inch. I said, why don't you go to Best Buy and buy a computer? Buy the 15-inch computer and take it home. And if you don't like the computer, then it's too big, or it doesn't fit your room, or you can't see good in it, or whatever, real data, you take it back and you get the 13-inch. Or you might even know, oh, wait a minute, I might not be able to get a 17-inch, oh boy. But the issue is do something.
Right. Otherwise, it's just theoretical.
It's all in, it's not, I wish it was theoretical, but it's in your head, and it's basically
it's even worse. It's a storyline. It's a fantasy.
That fantasy, Cinderella. That's why Jason labeled the last session that we had Cinderella. He has Prince Charming and Cinderella doing the dance at the beginning of the beginning of the video. It was brilliant, because it actually is a fairy tale that's in your head, and you believe it. Do you understand? No, I understand. Wrong word. Sorry. Did you? I'll use an old term. Do you ken this? Do you get this? Do you feel it in here?
I do.
Yeah, it just, that's not the way to be living. To be living is to be living, and choose to think. And then when you choose to think, it's a beautiful thing, because you're not being driven by the feeling that creates the thought. You're just being driven by the desire to use thought in its most beautiful form, which is to create and manifest infinite possibilities. It's beautiful. But nobody, I don't know anybody, a few people I know, but not very many who use thought that way at all. They use it to spend a month whether they should do a 13-inch or 15-inch computer screen. And that is the true story. And no matter what I did, and the guy lived somewhere around the Boston area, but if he lived anywhere near me, I swear to God, I would have gotten in my car, gone to Best Buy, bought the 15-inch, said, here it is, put it up, see what and I really would have done that for him. But, there are some great points to having Zoom, and there are some tough ones, because you can't just go act with the person yourself. But for you as a human, the thing that at least I sense was missing the last time was actions in your life, actually doing things, not having to have all the data before you do them or assess them. Just do them, and you'll get data from that, and different kind of data than if you do research, or that's another kind of, they're all good data.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about that for myself, as far as perfectionism, holding one back from executing on things, because it has to be perfect. I mean, I even remember in high school.
What does that word mean to you? Perfect. I have no clue what that word means.
Well, yeah, that is a good point. In my mind, the best possible outcome that it could possibly be. And yeah, that's a good. Yeah, it's true. Who says?
You said the beautiful thing too. You said, in my mind.
In my mind.
In my mind, it's the best possible outcome based on your experience and your little limited reality of your life, or my limited reality, or somebody else's limited reality. Where is the best? What is the best?
Yeah, no, I know, and I don't know where that judge exists in the world, or in my head, but I know that it has hindered me. I'm getting better at it, but it has hindered me in the past, where I remember in high school, I would write a paper. It would be like a 3-page paper due, and I'd spend so much time and energy on it, because every word was so important, and where its placement was, and the punctuation and the grammar, and it had to also be creative, and all these different parts that I wanted it to be so good, but it wasn't warranted in that instance, let's say, right? I mean,
So Tal, why are you talking about the past? You're that way right now.
no, okay. I was just giving you an example of where that actually continues to hold me up, but
Well,
I'm aware of it now. So I rather put out stuff, content, whatever it is, and then worry about getting it perfect or whatever that means, getting better or producing things that I perceive as better as
okay.
I go along.
So you know what perfect really is?
Mhm.
It's made up word by this culture so that we can never achieve it, so we never feel good about it.
Mhm.
That is the operational definition of perfect. Something unattainable that the culture says that if we buy this car, or if we use this makeup, or if we live in this place, or if we have this amount of money, whatever it is that you have come up with to make believe story, you can never get it, because that's not what life is about. Happiness, the root verb of the word happiness is to happen. So when you're fully experiencing what's happening, you have achieved happiness. So let's try not to be perfect. Let's work on being happy. How about that? Doesn't it seem a more reasonable goal to attain perfection? Because you look at these models on the Vogue cover, and they spend 5 hours getting ready for that 5-minute photo shoot.
Yeah.
And then there's something that you do. I don't know the technological name of it, but I'm sure that you would, or Jason would know. They then change it to make it even more perfect.
Oh, like a filter or something like that.
I don't know what they do.
Photoshop it.
That's the word. Photoshop. They
Right.
Photoshop to make you look absolutely, positively perfect, and you can never look that way in life.
Right.
But
Yeah, it's a real esteem problem for a lot of people, young girls especially nowadays. But that again, talking about other people is not useful for us.
no, it's the same for you, because you have a perfect too. Your perfect just isn't beautiful. I mean, physically beautiful. Your perfect is you got to get the A plus, or you got to get the whatever it is that you have to get in your head. But all of it's a story, and that story you have to close. And that's where sadness comes in, because sadness is the feeling that sits right in your heart area. It's the light in your heart area. And when you pay attention to it, the English translation to that is, this is over. What learning has needed to accrue from this has already happened in your DNA. It's over. Close it. Don't go back there. There's no need to go back there, because when you go back there, you lose here. It doesn't. There's something wrong with going back there. What the issue is when you go back there, you lose here, and here is where nature wants you to be.
Right. Unless there's something to glean from it that's useful, but otherwise,
No. What you just did was, in psychological terms, for my PhD, that was a rationalization to keep allowing yourself to believe in that illusion.
well, so there's nothing. I mean, there's got to be some things to glean from retrospective. Looking at your actions or otherwise from
No, if
prior.
you're fully in it, you know what's happening. You don't have to go back and review it. You're in the experience of it, so you know. Like today, just for example, I got a pain shot, and I was going to get the doctor's. I got it about 5 years ago, and I remember that I made so much noise that the doctor got mad at me because I was disturbing the other patients 5 years ago. So he said to me, "You'll get some anesthesia." So I said, "Oh, I'll get some anesthesia." And then I was thinking about it. I was talking to Jason last night or whenever it was, and I didn't want the anesthesia. I didn't want to go under, because I said to myself, "What happens if there's something that happens in the anesthesia?" And then I'll never wake up, and I still have some things that I want to do. So I said, I'm going to do this without the anesthesia. And so I said to the nurse, she came in with the IV and all this. So I said, I'm not going to do the anesthesia. I'm going to be a big girl, and I'm going to take it, And I took it, and it was fine. It was great. I came home and fell asleep for about 4 hours, but I'm up, and my back feels great, and I feel wonderful. And I was very proud that I didn't do the anesthesia, because I it didn't resonate with me. I don't have to go back there and analyze whether I should have done that anesthesia or I shouldn't. It felt wrong. It did not feel natural to me to do that. I remember having had that pain shot and knowing that I handled it then, I can handle it now. So I did it. So it was cool. It was really cool. I was very proud of myself. And the nurse, everybody, at the end of the thing, they all gave me applause because I didn't take the anesthesia. It was really cool.
That is cool.
So, but I'm trying to tell you, why do you have to go back? It's in the situation. If you're full down, you have to go back if you're not present. Because if half of you is thinking about something else, you won't get the full experience of what's happening. But if you choose to want to go back for a pure thought, and you want to say, okay, how could I do that different, or how could I analyze that differently, or okay, that's okay to do if you choose. You just remember that you're losing your present. That's the only, and so it's always a risk reward kind of thing, if I do this, then there's some consequences here, so you lose your present. And sometimes when you have to, like my son's asked to come into Thanksgiving, so he called me last night, and he said November 20th, so I had to go to November 20th. I don't want to go to November 20th, like I went to November 20th, and I lost what was happening right at that moment because he had to give me his schedule. But so, and we're built in a culture that's very future oriented and very past oriented and very, certainly not present oriented at all. So we're constantly dealing with things that pull us to different places. But we have the capacity to be aware of that. And once you're aware of it, you don't have to play. You just don't have to play.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. It seems like that it will require the work to put in to not play, to keep the present.
So much work to be out in the present moment. All your energy gets dissipated creating these things. So,
Your thoughts pull you out of the present, though.
Because thought by definition is out of the present. So It has a very different function when it's created by a feeling than when it's a pure thought. And everybody is so busy discharging their feelings through thought, which they don't know how to pay attention to feelings to jumpstart the superior intelligence of the body. They have no clue what those words mean. I mean, they must sound like Chinese to somebody else who I say those words to. But the truth of the matter is that thought has a very unique, beautiful, fabulous function. Nature wouldn't have given it to us if we didn't have it. But it's not to decide whether it's a 13-inch or a 15-inch screen. It is not that.
Yeah. Everything you say is it really does remind me about this presentness, about meditation. It's really very, very similar in how it operates in the world, in the real world.
Yes, the only problem is
not just your stories.
Right. When you meditate, I mean, when I was first learning about all of this stuff, I used to meditate all the time. I have my little mantra for my transcendental meditation. A quick side tributary story, which is that I got my meditation sort of degree there in Cambridge, and the night of our graduation, they give you your sound that you have to meditate on or whatever. Wyatt and I tripped down the entire stairs, break the candle. So, it's just me, but the point is I did a lot of meditation for a long time until I really realized that most of my life right now it's a walking meditation. I don't have to stop and meditate. I don't have to do that. I do that as part of how I be. And anybody, and if you're human, I said this to the other way too. Are you human, Tal? God, you're human, right? So if you're human,
I might be a meat popsicle.
Yeah, right, or from another planet, not, but the point is you have the capacity to be aware, to choose. And if and when, hopefully, people get that aha, life will be very different.
I would like to talk to you about the ability to choose at some point. I'm not sure that it's today, but I would like to have that conversation with you.
Well, clearly it's not today because you're using a conditional word, would like to.
Would like to, because I think that it would be the whole video would need to go dedicated towards it, because it's a subject that I think is deep, and you probably completely would be on the other side of it. The two sides be. Go ahead.
So why are you deciding that it's not relevant when it came up in your consciousness, and we're here and it's 5:28 and we have till 6 o'clock?
Well,
why are you doing that?
Okay, I'll bring it up. So do we have the choice?
Do we have the choice what?
Do we have choice? Let's say it that way.
We have choice in our limited domain. Of course, we're not the quantum field. The quantum field is everything of everything of everything of everything, and everything is interconnected. And so when we make our little choices, we have no idea what value that is in the quantum world. But we are so far away from getting to the quantum world in daily life for most people.
Well, I don't mean from the quantum perspective. I'm thinking like, so when you analyze your own thoughts, it doesn't seem like you're the author of them and they're just appearing in consciousness. So it's more a
There's a better way to do that, Cal. Ready?
yeah,
Don't think
don't
Don't
think.
worry about analyzing your thoughts. You're already thinking and then analyzing. So you're already up there. Make a deliberate attempt to think when you choose. Otherwise, don't think. Be, live, experience, do.
And if I'm doing that,
Yes?
when I'm doing that,
Yes?
it's just a product of everything that has come before that.
Precisely. Very good. Because that moment creates the next moment. That's the journey.
But then where does the choice begin if everything is prior condition?
It began when one sperm in the 8 billion got into that egg. That's when it began.
And I had no choice in that either.
Well, yeah, that was nature. That was nature saying that this sperm and this egg come together uniquely for this person because we need this person for something on this earth at this time in the quantum. And that's called, when we dub it down to us people, it's called purpose.
So I'm still struggling to identify where I have conscious choice.
Conscious choice is to put your attention on the experience. You don't choose what, I was going to use a good, bad word. You don't choose what to do. You choose how to be. Are you understanding? It has nothing to do with what you're doing. It has to do with how you're being. It is so important to make that shift. Everybody's into the content, the content, the content, the content. It's not about the content. It's about how you be with whatever is going on. That's it. It doesn't matter what's going on. Truly, it doesn't matter. What matters is how you be with what is.
So be content with what is.
You have no other option unless you create it.
Which I'm not certain that you can, but that's a different, that's part of my.
No, you live in your stories. You don't live with being content with what's so.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're content with what's so, then you can see infinite possibilities. Like as a result of the conversation that I had with Jason yesterday, I decided it didn't feel good to me after I got off that conversation with him. And I said, okay, I don't want to not wake up. So I can get rid of the piece of this that had to do with consciousness and anesthesia and putting shit in my body and all of that other stuff. I get rid of that piece. And when I went in there, of course, I screwed everybody's schedule around and everything, but I said, I'm not taking this. Okay. And then I know somebody tried to convince me to take it, and they said, okay, I'll take it. I said, no, I'm not taking it. But we went in and the rest is history. And it was so great. It was so great. You see what I'm saying? It just is being okay with what is, and each level of awareness brings you into another piece of the puzzle. So this piece was not necessarily about my shot. It was about how I be with my shot. And I wasn't good with the anesthesia after I talked to Jason. So it was fine. I just didn't do it. I was very proud of myself too.
That's awesome.
I was proud when everybody applauded.
Awesome.
So it was a good piece. But
That's a feel good moment too.
that was definitely a feel good moment. What I want to tell you is that it's not about what you do. It's how you be with what is. If you could get that, then you would know what choice is all about. and we would still have 25 minutes.
So I'm in that regard, how you be with what is. I like that, and I will. I am. Well, I am not at the moment, but I'm going to contemplate on that when I have more time outside of this video.
Okay. And
I'm not sure that I definitely understand it completely. Is what I'm saying.
but the attention that you have is put on how you are doing whatever it is that you're doing, not whatever it is that you're doing. It doesn't matter. Like yesterday, I took a water taxi. We had to wait 25 minutes, and I could have gotten. I found myself getting a little annoyed because it was a half an hour, and they told me, but I just said it's a beautiful day. It's so gorgeous. This is my first time I'm going to really take the water taxi and and go all around and figure it out, and know where I have to go to get to the water taxi from my house, and blah blah blah. It was the best day. It was so fabulous. It was great. But if I would have worried about the water taxi and they're not there, and how do I get there, and now I got to call them, I would have been miserable. If I accepted the water taxi is the water taxi, it's going to do it how the water taxi wants to do it, and it's how I'm participating with that water taxi that makes my day. You see what I'm saying?
I do. Actually, that makes a lot of sense.
Good, take a breath on that. Big breath. And let it out. One more. Because if you could really shift the attention and recognize that that is the truth of what's so, that it's all about you. It's all about how you're participating with whatever comes in front of you. Okay, and that's where the drivers come in, the 7 drivers, which is service, compassion, accountability, integrity, gratitude, courage, and kindness. If those are how you be, no matter what is going on, done.
Yeah.
Okay,
So when you get angry, is that
a real feeling?
What?
Anger is frustration plus a thought. It's not a real feeling.
Is it a
It's a feeling thought. Sorry, it's a feeling thought. The feeling is frustration. You didn't know how to make a different choice, and so you piggyback the feeling onto a thought. And frustration always takes you to other people and things. So or negative self-talk. So you're either angry at somebody or something or yourself. It's not real. Because why would you be angry at yourself? You're a human being. You're doing the best you can. You're struggling. You're trying to be good to people. You're trying to help people. You're trying to have a nice life. Why be angry at yourself?
Might not necessarily be angry at yourself. It could be, external.
Okay, so why be angry at that person? They know not what they do. They would never do such a thing like that if they were present ever. Ever, ever, ever. They would be kind.
I wish everybody was kind.
Well, everybody has the capacity to be kind.
But they're not always expressing that capacity.
Actually, they're very rarely expressing that capacity. And that's the problem. One of the problems.
Yeah.
But you're right. So, and I'm not interested in everybody. I'm interested in you. I'm interested in you coming back to express, to knowing that it's about how you're doing what you're doing, not what you're doing. Once you get to how you're doing what you're doing, then there's a whole other place to go. But you can't even go to that other place till you know till the attention is on how you're doing what you do.
But when somebody who has the capacity to be kind but is not, and it affects you, you have to be with what it is and express your own happiness in that moment, regardless of the negative or
what's going on out there. That's right. Yeah. And you know what it does? The word for that is compassion.
Oh man, I need more compassion.
Yeah. No, you have it. You just gotta pay attention to it.
I gotta pay attention to my compassion because sometimes it's missing.
Yes. Compassion is the greatest feeling in the world because it makes you not want to react back. It just makes you want to, feel that person's pain.
I could have used some of this advice earlier today, I'll tell you that.
But the point is that you can't change them. You can't change them. They have to get the awarenesses inside of themselves, but you can have compassion that they don't know what to do with the frustration. They just don't know what to do with it. That's all. They don't know how to make a different choice.
Mm.
It gets in a nanosecond. It feels like feedback onto a thought, and then it's angry, and it's you, and it's the other person, and it's horrible.
My boss came to me earlier today to let me know that one of her other employees quit, and she was asking me to do the work without any compensation for it. So on top of my already busy load of work, she wanted me to, and
So my question to you was, what did you do?
I got angry.
Oh, okay. Why, why not say, I know that you're in a tough spot, and I know it's really bad, but I'm a human being and I can only do X amount, and I understand your pain, and it's not an easy situation, but I can't solve it by doing two jobs at once.
Yes, I said that in a definitely in a very different tone.
I'm sure. I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did, and that didn't allow her to hear it really well either. So,
No, probably not.
but the
Or even if it was in the same tone, I don't think it would have mattered very much. But that's a different point. I think that's her
That's
problem.
exactly right. And you have to give it back to her because it's her problem, it's not yours. She tried to shift it right off onto you. And what a good time for you to think about, well, if she is going to demand that of me, then I have to make some other choices in my life.
That's right.
I have 1 minute. So Jason is giving me one of these guys. So,
The
so I want
fictional
to do a little
Jason.
summary. I want to do a little summary and find out how you're feeling.
I'm feeling good.
Did you get some awarenesses today?
Yes, I did. I got how you be with what is.
Oh, that's Beethoven in my head. If you could actually translate that into how you live your life, you would be a happy man.
Well, maybe like a little voice in my head will a little Faye voice in my head will pop up when next time when I'm
Do you have the Mindfulness Bell, the app?
the what?
There's an app called the Mindfulness Bell. Please,
No.
okay? It rings randomly. You can set it to ring randomly, and when it gongs, okay? When it gongs, just ask yourself, where am I? Where am I in the future? It'll give you an awareness. Okay.
Gong, how you be with what is.
Gong. Perfect. Just perfect. Okay. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Faye. Thank you.
That was terrific.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye.